Hello, my dear students, friends, learners, and professionals. Welcome to Billion Hopes AI channel. This is Mentor Sandeep bringing you AI for real impact. And what more could be the real impact of AI than AI actually helping speed up drug discovery? So that is something which can be put to mankind's use in the finest manner possible. Typically, in any drug development cycle, the struggle is to actually find the right match between antibodies and antigens, and that can take years and years of human effort, actual clinical trials. And this is where the ability of AI to do pattern matching on a humongous scale, which the human eye cannot, the human mind cannot at that scale, at that speed, this is where the disruptive potential of AI lies. A company called Chai AI, which is chemistry plus AI, not the wonderful chai or tea, chemistry plus AI, it has recently been funded heavily because of certain breakthroughs that the company claims it has made. So this very, very positive real world application of AI, which may one day in a few years lead to rapid, clinically proven, human approved final drugs for humanity's cause. This seems to be on the horizon, and this is what we are going to analyze today. So let us start with the very basic question, because this is what the topic is all about. Don't be scared, we are not going to teach or learn biology, but at least the very basic foundation should be known. How antibodies fight diseases, the 6 key terms, because this is where Chai Discovery, an AI drug discovery startup, comes into being. My dear friends, this is the disease-causing pathogen, that big violet blob in between. And this disease-causing pathogen has these specific structures protruding out of it. These structures create antigens. These are from a virus or a bacterium or an abnormal cell. This pathogen can be anything. And this antigen will trigger an immune response from the human body or any animal body or whatever. Our body, the immune system, creates antibodies. These are protective protein structures. So they go and attach themselves to the antigens. This is the natural antibody. But we can actually try to create artificial antibodies, which is what the field of drug development actually is all about. And these therapeutic antibodies will go and cling on to the antigens, thereby rendering the pathogen ineffective. If you do it inside a human body, that will be in vivo, and the biological efficacy will be how well the antibody clings on to the antigen to render the pathogen ineffective. So the challenge is to find the right 3D structure of the antibody which will stick onto the antigen to kill the pathogen. I have simplified it a lot. In reality, it is far more complex, but for our purpose, this is good enough. Now I think you will understand how this relatively young startup Chai Discovery is able to do what it's able to do. And what exactly do? They build AI models that predict the biological structure and interaction and designs of new molecules and antibodies from scratch. This is something which only human beings in clinical lab situations would have done. Now they want to actually find ways that AI can design these antibodies, which will then be taken to human clinics, and they will actually finally approve it before anything moves forward. But if the speed can be drastically reduced, then we are in for a revolution. I do not use that word lightly because that word has been abused so much. But to be able to cut down the development time for drugs, because the antibody structures can be very rapidly found, is nothing short of a medical revolution, or will be nothing short of it. So designing therapeutic antibodies will require identification of sequences which will bind specific antigens. This is exactly what we just saw. This is why I took a minute to explain this. And you need these affinity, selectivity, stability, low immunogenicity, manufacturability, and biological efficacy. That's fine. You can ignore this for the time being. Broadly, we need to bind the antibodies with the antigen, and our therapeutic antibody is the artificial lab-made medicine. Ultimately, a medicine is a molecule, right? So now, finding a useful antibody is like having a lock and 1,000 keys lying in the room. You are trying it with every key, or maybe 1 million keys. So you have a giant lock which is locked, and you have 10,000 keys lying around. This is what scientists do today. So hats off to them. They have done a wonderful job finding new medicines for us. But if we can somehow speed up this process, things can change substantially. So these are the specific 6 terms which we just saw. I have reproduced them in textual format: antibody, antigen, therapeutic antibody, immunogenicity, biological efficacy in vivo, and you can study them. You can pause and you can take a picture of it and so on. So we just saw this. Our whole goal, that is Chai AI like companies and startups, their goal is to speed up the discovery of therapeutic antibodies, nothing more than that. Clinical scientists, which is the human angle, till date, over the past 100 years, they were testing enormous numbers of antibody designs to find one that will bind to a specific antigen. Because it is not just any antigen. There is a specific type of antigen on a specific pathogen that our antibody has to go and stick to, that is, bind with. And it has to stay stable, otherwise the pathogen will become active again. Avoid all harmful reactions. It has to be safe in the human body and something that can be manufactured. All that AI does is speed this up. But then you might be questioning, how does AI speed it up? Yes, sir, we have the answer to that as well. From millions of possible antibody designs to a short list that scientists can then go ahead and do their in vitro testing with. This is the problem. So there is a lock and thousands of potential keys. What must be found? The perfect match for the right antigen, which gets clued completely. Or rather, a better analogy would be an open lock and 10,000 keys, and one that sticks to it and locks it perfectly so that the pathogen becomes useless for our body. This is the traditional method. You have to do thousands of testing for potential structures. What AI does is, it scans through the potential 3D structures and predicts the most promising design, even before $1 has been spent on actual lab and clinical testing. So what has been speeded up? The search space. The overall search space for potentially useful antibody designs gets shrunk. And that is a very substantial shrinkage. Then the human researchers can focus on that shrunk search space and go ahead and find the best that does the job and kills the pathogen. This is the whole idea. So the huge search space for potentially good antibodies becomes a smart shortlist. So this seems to be like a dream come true. But then we should not hurry. We should not jump the gun, because we really haven't cracked it. We are on the path to it. Before I move ahead, I have a wonderful live course coming up. This is the July cohort of my AI Turbocharger. 1 full day, 12 lectures, live chatbot and all. We have live chat box and all. We have 1 lecture, 1 hour, 12 such lectures. If you have never studied anything in AI, this is the time for you to start. This beautiful cohort will be on July 18th. The next one will be probably in September. Go ahead and enroll right now. The link for enrollment is given in the comments. Morning 8 a.m. is when we begin on Saturday. Thank you so much. The molecule wall is yielding. So if there is a wall or a barrier that we can call, it is now slowly yielding because chai discovery and startups like chai discovery are able to reduce the search space in a dramatic way. To get a hint, just a hint of how complex this thing actually is, look at this hypothetical 3D structure in the background. Thousands of atoms making up that structure, and you have to find the right fit. Very, very difficult combinatorial problem actually. So this company has managed a 400 million investment at a roughly $4 billion valuation. And that's kind of a big molecule wall yielding testimony that, okay, you guys are doing a good job. Medicine always begins with a brutal search, the right biological target. First, you have to find the right antigen. Then you have to find a structure that shall bind it, as we just saw. And the traditional discovery space is huge. AI cuts it. So the bottleneck is just too many possibilities, and the time for humans to do the experiment is just too little. Millions of possible molecules to explore, but if that can be cut down to a few weeks of search, that truly is a revolution. By 2030, we'll be very sure whether it was a revolution or a false flag or a false alarm. An antibody is actually not just a shape. It has to bind the target, and it should not go on the wrong target. So the specificity has to be very, very strong. It has to be a drug, stable, manufacturable, biologically useful. And a binding hit is therefore only the beginning of a long test of reality. But at least companies like Chai AI are giving us some hope that binding hits are possible. This 3D imagination in the background here, you can see that you need to find this antibody that actually binds the right antigen which we had identified. And it should be very safe for the human body, very specific, and very, very stable. And then, of course, manufacturable. So these conditions together make the whole thing an actual industrial level problem. So what AI does is, it turns screening into design. Instead of only searching existing libraries, the generative AI models, they can actually miraculously propose new biomolecules from scratch. This is something very new. So you have existing biomolecules. Searching that space was possible even before AI. But with AI, new 3D biomolecule structures are being proposed, which are actually feasible in a lab to create and test, which can bind onto the antigens very nicely. That is where the revolution is happening. The wet lab will then test the designs, and compute, design, test, and learn is the loop which is formed. Humans and labs will remain the most important thing. They are going nowhere. A 24-well plate became a proof point. So this company, Chemistry for AI, Chai 2, reported a 16% experimental hit rate, and that was considered a 100-fold improvement. And this is not a claim of clinical success. This is a discovery hit rate claim. But at least there is a beginning, and that's why the funding round was successful. Chai 3 doubled the success rate of Chai 2 in AI-driven antibody design. A precise 35-40% hit rate figure is being suspected, and the best wording would be roughly double the predecessor. Very, very long road, but at least the door is visible now that we can walk through. Earlier, you could not even see the door. And 400 million investment, it could all go dead one day, but it could actually work out one day as well at a roughly $4 billion valuation by some leading names. And OpenAI is one of their backers. So big capital is asking, can this molecule discovery business be automated? Because if the molecule discovery business can be automated using AI, then big pharma actually gets boosters, because instead of 10 years, the developmental time can be cut down to 18 months or 24 months, which truly is something humanity would appreciate, provided the medicines remain within reach of the masses. Otherwise, another round of profiteering. The real story is integration. The very large pharma companies or big pharma will need to certify whether these methods are useful or not. As you can see, Pfizer, Novartis, Eli Lilly, all of them will begin an absolutely new R&D workflow when they will tie up with these AI companies, AI startups, and try to work out together an overall platform solution. The human body is where the heart test will remain because the government regulators will become involved. The molecule can do a wonderful binding in the lab and fail in the human body, given the unbelievably complex 3D chemical structures flowing every moment through every part of the body. And FDA's public clinical overview, it says roughly 33% will move to the next phase. But as I said, the rapid shrinking of the search space is the story. And because drug discovery is a real world, humanity benefiting solution, hence I have taken up this session. Since you're here, I request you to please subscribe to the Billionaires AI channel and do check out the Turbocharger course. And we have wonderful membership level. There are 5 levels of membership on this channel. Hundreds are benefiting. Maybe you would want to check out the various levels and join one that helps you. So in the near term, AI will become a design layer inside pharma R&D. In the medium term, discovery cycles might get automated. And the final thing would be, AI made a drug is not the story being made out here. AI helped humans make a drug much, much faster. That is the story. I hope you enjoyed this session. It was slightly technical, but then checking out real world applications of AI which seem to be gaining ground, although we should never jump the gun. We know it's going to take a long time, at least till 2030, before all of this gets automated and we are able to really claim that AI made a difference to drug discovery and final manufacturing. But at least a start has been made and we should celebrate every such start always, yes or no? So my dear friends, do check out the various membership levels, join button, do subscribe to our channel, and the Turbocharger course awaits all those who are yet to begin their journey in technically learning AI. This is your mentor Sandy bringing you AI for real impact. See you soon.